Hey guys, Scott here, hope you're well. So today I want to talk a little bit about MLV. Just under a year ago I put out a video on my channel called MLV Does It Work? And in this video I talked about MLV, which is abbreviation for mass loaded vinyl, and whether it works as a soundproofing material, what my experience with it has been, and whether I would recommend it, essentially. And so since putting out that video, I've received a lot of messages on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of these messages have had similar questions, essentially. So thank you all for your questions, but I'm going to try and reply back to you guys in this video with a broad answer to all of them. That's what I'm going to try and do, okay? So the similar question that's coming up is people saying, I have a room in my house that I want to have band rehearsals in, that I want to do voiceover work in, and there was also someone that said, I want to mute my upstairs neighbour's noisy footsteps. So is MLV right for this situation? If I just stick MLV on my walls, is that going to soundproof the room? And the answer is yes and no. And so essentially what's going to happen is you're going to stick MLV straight on the walls, but the sounds, the vibrations, they're still going to be going straight through the walls. You're going to lose some of the sounds. You're said to lose around 20 decibels. That's what's happened for me here, but it's not always the case. It depends on the walls you're sticking them onto, okay? And so really the preferred method of soundproofing is the floating walls method, also known as the room within a room method. If you've been looking to soundproofing for some time, you're probably fairly familiar with this concept, and there are a lot of people out there who can give you more specific descriptions, but I'll give you the general gist of it if you're hearing this for the first time. Essentially, the floating room within the room method is you take the room that you want to do the recording in, and you build a smaller room inside of it, made out of soundproofing materials. You create a little box within that room that you can hopefully breathe inside. So you create a room within the room, and the walls and ceiling of this room that you've made are made out of soundproofing materials such as acoustic plasterboard, Texsound, MLV. Okay, and so the idea is that this new room inside the room has minimal contact with the exterior walls and ceiling. So there'll be a few little railings that go across that connect to the exterior wall and ceiling, but there's, for the most part, quite a big air gap in between, and this is where a lot of the sound is lost in transmission. And so this is the method that's been recommended to me by a lot of soundproofing experts I've talked to on the phone. When I was looking into getting the soundproofing done in here, my studio, back in January 2020, I was recommended that. However, I didn't go ahead with that method because I had a budget for building my studio, and there were a lot of different things I needed to get. I needed to get the shed, I needed to lay a foundation, I needed to have a landscaper, clear away all the junk that was here before. I needed the electricity, carpeting, etc., insulation. And so I calculated that I would only have so much money left over for soundproofing at the end, and what I was being told on the phone was I needed 10 times that amount to do the floating wall room within the room method, which I would have preferred, but I just didn't have the budget for it. And I told them that, and they said, well, what's your situation? I said, well, I've got a shed at the end of a garden. It's quite far away from the house and from neighbours and things. And they said, well, distance is your best friend there. Distance is its own method of soundproofing. And so they said, I would maybe add a layer of MLV to your walls there, and that will help and give it a boost. You're still going to be able to hear drums right outside the door and from, a few meters away, but as you get further back to the house, you're not going to hear it as much. And that's been the case. I can definitely say that's been the case. Of course, I've got acoustic plaster boards on my wall as well, 50mm, so that does help as well. But I could definitely say, if you're in a similar situation similar to me, then I definitely recommend doing that. But if you've got a room in your house that you're trying to soundproof and you think, put an MLV just on the walls, I'm going to go for that, it's not gonna serve you as best as it could. If you have the money, go for the floating room method. If you're handy with DIY, you can probably do it yourself with some guidance from some experts. You can call them up on the phone, as I did. But yeah, that's just the way it is. If you stick some MLV up in your little rehearsal room in your house and you're playing heavy drums, your neighbours are going to hear that, people in the next room are going to hear that. If you're doing voiceover work though, that's a bit different because you're not making as much noise as a drum kit or a guitar amp would be making. So instead, that could work for you. That could work. There will still be outside noise coming in, so if you live next to a busy street, that situation's not going to be great for you still. So I wouldn't recommend that. I generally recommend doing your rehearsals or doing any recording kind of away from external noises if you can. So yeah, so there we go. So that's a little kind of breakdown of how MLV can help you out and the different methods you can do. I love this stuff. It's been really good for me in my situation. But yeah, if you just want to stick it on your walls in your house, it's not gonna be great for you. It's not going to be great, so don't spend all your money on MLV just yet. Anywho, I've been Scott. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more recording studio videos on top of my usual music videos that I do every Tuesday. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Peace. Stay awesome. See you next time. Bye-bye.